Okay, profiling. Now, this is an advanced sales technique that you need to really focus on throughout your career. It's going to take you years to master these skills. But I can tell you right now, at the beginning stages, all you got to understand is each profile and each personality profile, what it means and how they act differently from your profile. So that's the main focus here, is to focus on that. Now, I also talk about this in the listing presentation mastery course. And you definitely want to participate in a listing mastery. So at the mastery, I will talk about it in more details. This is not something that I can teach you quickly in one video, but I'm going to just give you an introduction to explain to you the different personality styles. You need to understand that there are different personality styles. This is, by the way, the reason we gave you the DISC test when you join our company. It's going to help me coach you. It's going to help us understand who you are, and it's going to help you, most importantly, understand how to work with other people. Most top producers are versatile. They have a high versatility levels. Okay, versatility is the art of advanced communication. It allows you to basically maneuver between different personality styles. So it's also a key component to advanced sales techniques used by the best of top producers. Top producers consistently learn NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, that helps you understand. It also helps you to improve your communication skills. Top producers always match their style to the customer style. So they're not thinking about what to say, because they already memorize and internalize a lot of scripts and dialogues. So when they come across with other people, they focus on the other person, what's their personality style, and then they work accordingly. And that's very important. You got to be versatile. Now, we have 4 different personality styles. We have the driver, that's also known as dominant. And then you have the expressive, which is also known as the influencer, the amiable, which is known as the steady, and the analytical, which is known as compliance. All right, let's take a closer look at each and every one of those. All right, so the driver. Okay, the driver is basically low on emotion, quick to decide, so they make decisions very quickly. They don't need emotion to make a decision, they need logic. Okay, they're very forceful, restless, competitive, quick to react, determined, direct, demanding, decisive, controlling, on purpose, and initiating. So this is the kind of a person that you will, if you're an amiable, which is the exact opposite, you will feel super intimidated by them. Drivers respect other people that have similar values. So I just want to show you here real quickly the behaviors of a driver. So a driver personality style tends to be super direct and decisive. They sometimes describe themselves as dominant, or being described by others as dominant people. They would prefer to lead than to follow. They tend towards leadership and management positions. They tend to have high self-confidence and are risk takers and problem solvers. Others look at them for decisions and direction, so help them with decision making, etc. And they also tend to be self-starters. Now, when you talk to a seller and the seller tells you what they do for a living, and you recognize that they're in a leadership or a management position, you can then assume, not 100%, but you can then assume that they probably are driver or a driver combo, which I'll explain. Okay, what motivates drivers? Drivers are highly motivated by new challenges, setting and achieving goals, seeing tangible results. They appreciate receiving verbal recognition from other people as well as rewards. They enjoy power and authority to take risks and make decisions. They like to make decisions. And they like freedom from routine and mundane tasks. Since repetition is frustrating for the drivers, changing environments can be highly motivating. Okay, just to summarize, the drivers, when you're dealing with a driver seller, you want to let them make the decision. So let them choose the price. Okay, let them choose which pictures they want to use. Let them choose, let them make choices, let them feel that they are in charge, let them feel that they're in control. That is by far the most important thing for these people. So when you take the listing, don't take all the control. Okay, and don't be a wuss when you talk to these people. You need to be a little bit more dominating the conversation. You need to be louder on your volume. So that's very important for you guys to understand when you're dealing with the driver sellers. Now, a driver buyer, let them choose the price, and let them, basically you need to guide them through with information and let them be the ones making the decision. Okay, next, the expressive, the influencer. These people are high on emotion and you're gonna feel them every single time they walk in a room. Okay, they are quick to decide, so you can, when you talk to them and negotiate, they can make decisions very quickly. Also the drivers will make decisions super fast. Okay, the expressives are charming, talkative, they talk a lot, and you're gonna recognize them very quickly just by that. They're super optimistic, people-oriented. They like to commingle with people and to network and to, they're the life of the party in general. Super enthusiastic, influential people, impulsive. They are very emotional and sensitive. So it's very important to them how they feel. When you talk to a seller or a buyer that are expressive, you want to talk to how they feel. So you need to ask a question. The difference between an expressive and a driver, both of them are quick to decide. One of them is high on emotion and the other one is not. So when you talk to a driver, you need to give them the bottom line. When you talk to an expressive, you need to talk to them about the feelings and you need to make them excited. Okay, so if you are like down here and you talk like this and you're an analytical as an example, and you're just showing them facts and figures and you talk slow and you're like this, they will find you super boring and they're not going to be interested in you. So you need to pick up the pace, you need to make them excited, you got to use feelings to make them feel excited, and you need to pay attention to how they feel. So when you make an offer with these people, if it's a buyer or the seller, you need to always ask, how do you feel about this house? How do you feel about this price? How do you feel about what the seller said? And then try to bring their emotions up. Okay, the expressive influencer personality style is not afraid to be the center of attention. They would like to be the center of attention. They're also enthusiastic, optimistic, talkative, persuasive, impulsive, and emotional. We talked about that. This type will trust others naturally. They truly enjoy being around other people, and they function best when working with other people and inside teams. What motivates the expressive? The influencer style gets motivated by the approval, praise, flattery, popularity, or acceptance of other people. They don't like rules and regulations. They like to be in a friendly and fun environments, and they will excel most when they can be the center of attention. They like to be the talker, the presenter, etc. They need another person to handle the details. They're very bad with the details. So, and they're, by the way, also expressives are very unorganized. Okay, next, the amiable. The amiables are very steady people. They're high on emotions, so they're very sensitive, but they're very slow to decide. So the difference between an amiable and an expressive, both of them are high on emotion. Expressives make decisions very quickly. Amiables needs a lot of time to make a decision. Okay, they're super patient, they're very predictable, easygoing, calming, group-oriented. They like to be around other people. They're very steady and stable, super sincere people, very honest, deliberate, modest, very good listeners. One of the best listeners that you're going to come across. They're always going to be amiables, and they love to please other people. So for them it's important how other people feel versus the expressives that are interested in how they feel. So another way to distinguish between an amiable and an expressive, the expressive love to focus on themselves. They're not too much about how other people feel. They're more about how they feel themselves. But they're both going to be high on emotions. So to motivate an amiable, you need to basically speak to their emotions, but you cannot rush them into a decision. An expressive, on the other hand, can be rushed very quickly and make a decision based on emotions. So they'll make a decision very quickly. Amiables, on the other hand, will take a lot of time to decide. So don't push them to make a decision. Now, if you're a driver and you're dealing in negotiations with an amiable, the worst thing for you to do is to push these people to make a decision. Okay, because they're going to be, they will shut down and they will not listen to you, and they will be super intimidated by you. So what you need to do as a driver when you come across with an amiable, you need to be very soft-spoken. You need to make yourself connected to emotions and put yourself in their shoes, and always try to ask them how they feel and make sure that they are okay, and don't rush them into any decisions. Okay, amiables are steady personality style. They basically are known to be stable and predictable. They're always going to do things the same way. It's always going to be the right way. And they're very generous with loved ones. They will always take care of those they love. They understand and listen very well. So when you talk, if you need a listening ear, you definitely want to have an amiable close by. Okay, they also prefer close and personal relationships. So the difference also between amiables and expressives is right here. Expressives can build relationships with anybody, and amiables are very close. So they make very personal relationships. So they're not going to go into a party and become friends with everybody. They will choose the ones they feel comfortable with and safe, and they will build very strong relationships with these people. Okay, they're also very open with loved ones. They can also be possessive at times and hold them very close. Now let's cover real quickly what motivates the amiables. Steady personality types are motivated by safety and security. That's why I told you, work very slowly when you work with these people. They want to avoid conflict and exist in peaceful environments. So they don't like confrontations, and you need to keep it peaceful with them and let them feel that your environment and being around you is safe. Okay, they truly appreciate recognition for their loyalty and dependability. So you want to acknowledge them for being loyal, and you want to acknowledge them for being dependent. They don't like confrontations, as I said before, and they don't like too much of a direct communication. The last one here is the analytical, which is also known as compliance. Analyticals are low on emotion, very much like the drivers. They don't need emotions to make a decision. But to differentiate them from the driver, a driver makes decisions very quickly. Analyticals make decisions very slowly. They need all the details. They're super detail oriented. Very patient people, predictable, easygoing, similar to the amiable in that sense. Calming, they're group oriented, steady, stable, sincere, deliberate, modest, good listeners, and pleasing others. So in that sense, you can see how they are very much like the amiables, but they are very low on emotions. So when you speak to an amiable and you talk to how do you feel, if you ask how do you feel an analytical, they don't care, because they don't involve feelings. They only involve logic when they make decisions. Analyticals are accurate, precise, detailed-oriented. They think very analytically and systematically. They make decisions carefully, and they need a lot of research before, and they want to see all the information. So for example, if you're sitting down with an analytical seller, you really need to go over every single comp, and you need to know what you're talking about. If you go in and you chose comparables that you've never seen before, when you go in a listing presentation with an analytical, they will understand that you don't know what you're talking about very quickly, because they pay very close attention to detail. They're going to ask you a lot of questions about the details of the other homes and why you're comparing their homes with my home, and these kind of questions. Therefore, you got to go out before you are doing a listing presentation. Make sure that you go out and you preview every single listing that you chose to put on your CMA. It is super important, specifically when you meet with analyticals. Okay? Now, analyticals have high standards for themselves and other people. So they're going to basically expect things from you and expect high standards. If they see that you don't have high standards, they're not going to work with you. Okay? They also focus on the details, and they see what many other styles do not see. So bear in mind, you need to be organized when you meet these people. You need to look organized. Okay, the way you're dressed need to be neat, need to be organized. You can't have your stuff when you do the listening presentation, you can't just be all over the place. Everything needs to be organized. Expressives. I'm talking to you right now. If you are doing a listening presentation with an analytical, when you present to analyticals, you're going to have a challenge. I'm telling you this right now. Because expressives are normally not organized, okay? And the expressives are normally don't pay attention to details. For them, it's really doesn't matter. It's all about the feeling. But for analyticals, they don't care one iota about how you feel, okay? They don't care about one iota about the feeling if it feels good. They just want to see order. They want to see facts. And for them, that's what's important. For you, it's not important at all. So the opposites on the 4 personality styles are expressives and analyticals are the exact opposite, and then drivers and amiables are the exact opposite. So you got to pay attention. You need to be careful. If you're a driver, you need to watch out with the amiables. Amiables, you need to watch out with drivers. Okay? Analyticals, you need to watch out with expressives, and expressives, you need to watch out with analyticals. Now, what motivates the analyticals? Basically, they're motivated by information and logic. It's very simple. Information, does it make sense or no? Yes or no? Okay? They have very high standards of quality. They're motivated by being well informed. They like researching before deciding. So you cannot push them to make a decision. If you are sitting with an analytical and you're trying to get them excited about who you are and your company and what you guys do, you can't do that. If you put pressure on them, they will walk away and they will not list with you. Give them time to make a decision, ask more questions, make sure that everything is clear, okay? Because they need to have clear perimeters and instructions. They work accurately and correctly, so they need to be correct, and they want to make sure that you are correct as well. And the best thing about analyticals is that they see a project all the way to the end, which is what, for example, expressives have a lot of challenges with. I also want to mention here that we have 4 personality styles, and then for each one of them, there is another combo. What do I mean by that? Okay, a driver can be a driver, standalone driver. They can also be a driver expressive, which is, by the way, the best combo for top producers. Most top producers are driver expressive or expressive drivers. So we have a driver expressive, then you can have also a driver analytical, and you can also have, but very rarely, a driver amiable, like very rare. Okay, it's almost non-existent, but in general, there is a possibility for it. So there is 4 personality styles that are possible for a driver. The driver expressive, driver analytical, and a driver amiable. And then you have the expressive. So you have expressive, then you have expressive driver combo, or you have an expressive amiable combo, or you have expressive analytical, which is also super rare. And then you have the amiable. You can have an amiable, you can have an amiable expressive, you can have an amiable analytical, or you can have an amiable driver, which is also very rare. And then you have the analytical. You can have analytical driver, you can have analytical expressive, or analytical amiable. Now, when you talk to someone, one of the personality styles is going to be the dominating one. And when you take the DISC test, it's always one of those points will always be the most dominating point, which is really who you are. But under pressure, you can become something else. So if you're a driver, like for example, I'm a driver expressive, but I'm also very high on analytical. So I have the highest point on my DISC test is a driver, and then the second highest is the expressive, and the third highest is the analytical. And all of them are way above the midline. But I have one way below the midline, which is the amiable. So I need to watch out with amiables. My number 1 challenge is always with amiables. Okay? You need to know what it is for you. So when you take the DISC test, pay attention to which personality style you have. And this way you can also find ways in how to be more versatile. Now, because I have 3 high points on my profile, it is easier for me to deliver a message to a driver, because I am a driver. It's easier for me to deliver a message to an expressive because I can be an expressive as well. And it's also easy for me with the analytical because I'm also analytical. But when it comes to being amiable, it is super challenging, and I know it. So Knowing is powerful. And when you come across with other people, just by the way they speak, you can then recognize who they are fairly quickly. With expressives, you're always going to see a lot of energy. They're going to talk fairly fast, and they always speak about themselves, their experiences. For them, they are the center of attention, and they come across very quickly, so you can see them. Amiables are very shy, very timid, so you can see that also, very reserved. Analyticals, very low on emotion. They like the details. They normally will be super organized in the way they're dressed, and you can see that very quickly. And drivers are very determined and very controlling. So in a conversation, you will see them taking control of the conversation. These are different small signs that you can see here and there. Now, can you imagine when you bring this skill that we're talking about, knowing personality styles and how to maneuver and how to be versatile between these different personality styles, can be super powerful for you when you come across with sellers. When you want to get a listing, you're going in and you're performing a listing presentation. That's why I tell you that once you memorize and internalize the scripts and dialogues, and you don't need to think about what to say, you can then focus on who is this person in front of me. Am I talking to an expressive? Then let me be expressive. Let me allow them to speak. I'll ask them how they feel about stuff and give them importance and make them feel important. So that's it, guys and girls. This is as much information as I can put in one video. We're also going to talk about it in the listing presentation mastery and other events that we're doing and other training and mastermind sessions. If you have any questions about this video, feel free to email me.